No one has ever been able to survive on Mars alone for more than 7 days. Yet this man has been trapped on this lifeless red planet for a whole month. Worse still, his teammates thought he was dead. Even the command center far away on Earth announced his death and held a funeral for him. The cause of the incident was that Mark was accidentally hit by debris from a communication tower while performing a mission on Mars. Under the ravages of the superstorm, no one could survive for more than a minute. For the safety of other team members, the captain could only urgently order an evacuation. What no one expected was that Mark miraculously survived that superstorm. On Mars, the first task is to solve the food problem. By counting the supplies in the storage room, he calculated that he could survive on Mars for 400 days. However, the next time the Earth sends astronauts will have to wait until 4 years later. In order to survive until the rescue 4 years later, Mark decided to do something that seemed impossible. He wanted to grow food on Mars. He did it right away. Mark sealed the entire experimental cabin with plastic film and dug soil from the surface of Mars to lay a planting bed. Then, he carefully cut open the excrement that his teammates had sealed and poured it all into a plastic bucket as fertilizer. The pungent smell made Mark almost unbearable, and he kept retching. Potatoes need sufficient water to grow, but there is no large amount of water for planting on the barren Mars. Fortunately, Mark is a biologist. He knows that hydrogen and oxygen can produce water by burning, so he extracted hundreds of liters of rocket fuel from the aircraft. He planned to use a catalyst to decompose nitrogen and hydrogen, and then burn hydrogen to produce water. After everything was ready, the experiment began. The process went smoothly, and it had reached the last step. However, at the moment of igniting the flame, an explosion suddenly occurred and Mark almost died. After reflection, he quickly found the problem. The gas exhaled by humans contains not only carbon dioxide, but also oxygen itself, and he did not calculate the oxygen content of his exhaled. After repeatedly improving the device, Mark carefully reignited the flame. The experiment was finally successful, and water was slowly generated under the action of the flame. 60 days later, he finally saw hope of survival. A green seedling exuding the breath of life broke through the soil. As time passed, Mark's efforts finally paid off. With food security in place, Mark began to make longer-term plans. The next human landing on Mars is 3,200 kilometers away from this base. When the rescue team arrives, he must rush to that location. However, the maximum range of the rover he drives is only 35 kilometers. To this end, Mark must prepare sufficient food and solve the problem of charging the rover. Roughly calculated, it will take more than 50 days to reach the landing point with the rover. The bigger challenge is that the night on Mars is extremely cold. For a human, this is simply an impossible task.